Let's continue our look at Vex and VOPs by looking at how we can create parameters to edit in our interface. So this project file is the same project file from the last video in this series. I'm going to go ahead and make them all available on Patreon, so if you want to grab them all, you can do that on there, but I'm going to put everything into one file so that you can reference just one file. You don't have to open up a bunch of different files in order to just check on different things if you forget. So I'll organize everything with these network boxes, and then you can just kind of reference where you need. So let's go ahead and create a grid to start off with, and then we will also need our attribute wrangle. So we are running over points here, and I have already changed the size of our text box here. So you can press Control and plus or Control and minus, and you can increase or decrease the size of the text in here. And this, you can also, for any box in Houdini that has this little black fill to it, you can press Alt and E, and it's going to pop that out. And then if I press Control and E, or Control and plus or minus in here, you can see that it's going to increase and decrease the size of both of the font size for both. So let's go ahead and create some attributes for our wrangle here so that we don't have to change code in order to change values. We can have some sliders and stuff to make things a little bit more clean for us to work with and easier for us to work with. So let's start off with an integer. So we'll do the same thing that we did with the last video to create an integer attribute. So I at my int is equal to, and then in order to create a channel parameter, we need to use the channel function. So that's going to be ch. And then whatever comes after the ch is going to determine what type of attribute that we create. So in this case, we need an I for an integer, and then we give it a name. So we'll do integer. And once we click apply here, it's going to pop up over here. And then we have this little button right here, which creates the spare parameters. So it creates the parameter that we have set up there. And then if I go ahead and change this, you can see it's changing in our geometry spreadsheet, and we can just have a little slider that affects everything up here. So we'll talk more about this in a second, but let's go ahead and create the other types of attributes that are super common. So float, string, and vector. And then we'll have another one that we'll cover a little bit later on. So let's do f at my float is equal to chf for a channel float, and we'll call this float. Whoops. And then for a string, we'll do s at my string is equal to chs. And then we'll call this string again. And lastly, for a vector 3, we'll do v at my vector. If you wanted a vector 2 for this channel, so for a vector, we'll do chv, but if you wanted a vector 2, you would use chu. And we'll call this vector. And now if I click apply and then we create those spare parameters, we have all of them available to us. We can change the string to say hello, or whatever we want. We can change around all the values here. They all update in our geometry spreadsheet. Now, one thing I do want to point out with all of these attributes is that we still have access to change these to whatever we want through the edit parameter interface. So come to this cog, edit parameter interface, and then they're all showing up right here in these generated channel parameters folder. So if I take this float, for example, and I want to change anything about it, so I want to change the range from 0 to 1 to -1 to 1, I can press apply, and you can see that it updates over here. Now we can drag that from -1 to 1. Now, I do want to cover one other thing with our integer here. So there's a handy little toggle that we have available to us that you'll need in order to create some HDAs and stuff for some interfaces. So if we want to change this from an integer to a toggle, we can come down here. And then all a toggle is just this little checkbox, and it's just an integer that's either 0 or 1. So if it's checked, it's 1. If it's unchecked, it's 0. And you can see that changing down in our geometry spreadsheet. So let's go ahead and set that back to an integer for now. and we'll press apply and accept. And let's take a look at our point VOP, and then we'll come back to our wrangle here in a moment. So we'll type in a point VOP. Let's wire this in, and I can go ahead and close that for now. And let's dive into our point VOP. So in order to create attributes, as we talked about before, we need a bind export. So I'm only going to create one of these, but we'll call this my float. And for for the last video, we used a constant in order to create kind of whatever we wanted. In order to have these pop up on the SOP level here on this actual node itself, we need to drop down a parameter. So drop down a parameter, we can wire that into our bind export, and we'll call this my float. And make sure that you don't name these the same thing as far as like just a float or an integer, because that can cause some issues. So if we take a look at this, you can see that on the SOP level, well, we should be having our parameter pop up. So we have my float, and the reason that that was not popping up was actually because I named this my float as well. So that's a good point as well. Don't name them the same thing, and that's kind of an important thing for Houdini on the back end of things. So it knows kind of what to look for different values and things. So if I wanted to, I'd name this my float like 2, and you can see that it pops up here with my float 2. Now, I wanted to point out too, that if you put a space in here, you're going to have this weird label that pops up. And the reason for that is it doesn't like spaces in the names. It's fine with them in the labels. So if I go ahead and, type that into the label, you can see that that has changed the name of that actual parameter. If we undo that and we get rid of this space, I'm going to leave it as that. So we'll call this my float 2 again, so we don't have any issues, but it's going to keep that naming for the label as well. So if it's able to use the name, if it doesn't have any spaces in it, and it's able to use the name as a label as well. So let's create our integer. So we'll do my integer. We'll do a string. Actually, we need to change this. So integer, my string. We change this to a string. And then lastly, our vector. So my vector, and we make this a vector. Now if I pop up to the SOP level, you see that we have all of those available to us. And then there's one other one that I want to take a look at. And actually, before I get to that, the integer, we have the same thing with the toggle. So we'll call this toggle. We have the ability to make this a toggle as well, and then you can see it pops up there. So let's go ahead and leave that there, I guess. But the other parameter that I want to talk about that's super important, because you'll use it quite a bit, is a ramp parameter. So for us, for the VOPs, it's going to be called a ramp parameter. And you can see that we can set this either to a spline ramp or to a color ramp. A spline ramp is a float. A color ramp is going to be a vector. So depending on what you need, you're going to change that to whichever one you want. And then we have access to that on the SOP level here. So it should reset to this default. Whatever you have set in this default ramp is what it's going to pop up on the top level. So this has been changed because I changed it to the spline ramp. So if I go ahead and control middle mouse on that parameter, you can see it's going to reset to its default value, which is what was set inside of the VOP. So how do we do this inside of the wrangle? The wrangle is going to be a little bit of a different scenario. So the channel ramp in Vex requires an input value. So these are just creating the parameters on the interface. These are doing the same thing, but they're tied to they're kind of tied to some stuff. So in order for Vex to create a channel ramp, we need to have a value to take in. So I'm going to change this grid, and that value has to be from 0 to 1. So I'm going to change this grid so that we can visualize that, and I'll kind of explain more as we go. So we'll set this to a 1 by 1 grid, and then we will offset this in the x direction 0.5 because it's going to be 1 by 1, so half. So this will run from 0 to 1. And we're going to use the x value as our driving parameter for our channel ramp. So let's do our color just so we can visualize this. So we'll do at CD is equal to CH ramp. And let me actually just pop this out. So CH ramp, and then we'll call this whatever we want. So we'll call this color actually. And then, as I said before, if I come back here, we can look at our tooltips here, and we have our name, which is the string channel. And then we need a second value. So this is a float. So this tells the ramp where it's going to be placed, where the value is going to be placed at. That'll make more sense here in just a moment. So let's do our position. So our p.x. And if I click apply, and actually let's close this, let's create our parameter there. And you can see now we have a value from 0 to 1 that is running from black to white. Now, if I want to, as far as like that second value, where on the parameter it knows to evaluate, this is what I'm talking about. So if I drag this closer to, if I drag this closer to 0, you're going to see that our value is changing over the course of our points. So it's going to take our position, and then it's going to map that to this ramp. So it takes whatever value is that second input, so this input, and then it's going to map it to this ramp. So that's why it has to be from 0 to 1, because this is you can see this position goes from 0 to 1. And then the second value, this has to be from 0 to 1 because it needs to know where in this ramp that value falls. So I can change this around kind of however I want, can get some, different shading to this. And you can also change this from a spline ramp, because right now this is just a black and white. We can change this in the parameter interface to a color ramp if we want. So we can change this to color, click apply and accept. And then I can come in here and I can, change the colors to whatever I want. And you can change the interpolation between all these as well. So we have linear, we have all these different options. By default, it's going to be linear. But you can change the way that they interpolate between the values as well. So super helpful stuff. That is going to cover what I wanted to cover for the channels. So there are more channels, but these are kind of the main ones that at least I use most of the time. So just be aware that this is how you're going to go about creating them. And you can do it with either Vex or VOPs super easily. But I prefer, I don't know, I guess it kind of depends on what I'm doing. I'll use VOPs for different things and Vex for different things, just whichever is easier for that specific case. And we'll kind of go over more of that as we get further into the series of what I'll use for what, just to kind of explain my thought process on that. But anyways, that is all I wanted to cover with that. I'm going to be covering more on Vex and VOPs in the future, so if you're interested in any of that, make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out, and make sure you check out the playlist so that you can stay up to date with all of the Vex and VOP stuff that we got going on. And again, the project files will be available on Patreon, so if you want to grab those, you can grab those on there. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.